related disorders. Alzheimer Hellas as a psychologist researcher in the Erasmus Plus project entitled Dementia Right and the program Altoida DNS. She also has a collaboration with the Speech Therapy Center. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Anna. We talked about the ethical dilemmas raised by carers, but I will take you a step forward because we will talk about the rights of people living with dementia. Which are the rights? And after that, I think that ethical dilemmas are very useful to know them. Today I will present you an Erasmus Plus project I am in charge of the last 1.5 years. It is called Dementia Right. And what is this program all about? Dementia Right project is an Erasmus Plus project that aims to empower people with dementia, those who support them, and the community as a whole to ensure their rights are recognized and respected by developing a new rights-based approach to dementia and innovative learning materials. In order to empower the participants to recognize, respect, and guarantee the fundamental rights of people living with dementia, the Dementia Right project has 4 main objectives. The first one is improving the quality of life, social inclusion, and dignity of people living with dementia, their carers, and their family members. One objective is to develop a new approach to dementia, human right based, with effective guidelines for implementing and supervising the care provided in health care facilities to people with dementia regarding their rights. It is also to improve the professional competencies of health and social care professionals, social educators, and other carers to revamp their care skills and their approach to dementia. And it is also to contribute to a more inclusive and efficient care centers to cope with the different needs of people living with dementia. So, you probably will ask me why we talk about rights of people living with dementia. Are they different from human rights? No, they are not. People living with dementia and their carers have the same human rights as every other citizen. However, in addition to the impact of the disorder, they often face cultural, social, and economic barriers to fulfilling their fundamental rights. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development report in 2015, dementia receives the worst care in the developed world. So they thought that it was necessary to demand a human rights-based approach to dementia at the World Health Organization. The first output of the project we have to complete was to create a Charter of Rights for people living with dementia. It has been developed in order to empower people living with dementia, those who support them, and the community as a whole to ensure their fundamental human rights are respected, protected, and promoted. So, I will have to show you the Charter of Rights. I have the file, sorry. See? This is the Charter of Rights we completed about people living with dementia. It's a formal document, and it targets to healthcare professionals. We will show it. We will show it after it is finished. We didn't have finished the design of it yet, so we will hand it in many healthcare centers here in Greece, and also at the other countries we are collaborating with, which is Portugal, Spain, Turkey, and Ireland. So, okay. The Charter of Rights was based on the Scottish Charter of Human Rights, developed by the cross-party group in the Scottish Parliament on Alzheimer's, on the Alzheimer Society of Ireland, and the Irish Dementia Working Group, Charter for Rights of People Living with Dementia. The Charter has been informed by the panel approach to human rights-based policy and practice endorsed by the United Nations, consistent with a global action plan on the public health response to dementia 2017 to 2025. Yes, 25. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Also, we developed a human rights-based approach guide, which is a training manual for practitioners. It is a protocol with harmonized standards and guidelines to access and monitor a human rights-based approach implementation. It is divided in 3 sections. The first one, it is called Get It In Right, Human Rights and Dementia, the need for a human rights-based approach to dementia. The second one is building a human rights culture for people living with dementia. What is then a person-centered rights-based approach and how can we implement and nurture it? And at the end, we have a self-assessment checklist, which can be filled by healthcare professionals. At the first chapter of the Human Rights-Based Approach Guide, we have everything about human rights. What are the human rights? Where are they consecrated and why do they matter to everyone? We have human rights and dementia. What is dementia and what changes does it bring to our lives, and what challenges can a person living with dementia face in exercising their rights and duties? And instruments, resources, and experiences, from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights to the Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, from panel to decision-making acts in Europe, the civic movements, the Charter of Rights, and the statements. There are a lot of websites we have included there that it can be useful, and they talk everything about human rights and dementia, and that we have taken many ideas from them. So it is good from someone that searches for this kind of information to have access to those websites and those documents. Also, it falls in the introduction to a human rights-based approach. Before we really get into the approach in practice, let's really get into the spirit of the approach. Attitude before skills, it is our motto. And after that, there is a chapter for the human rights-based approach in practice of care. What is a human rights-based approach after all? What are the critical aspects of this approach in practice, and how can we guarantee them? And the last chapters has to do with challenges to implementation and strategies to address them. What are the challenges that we can expect from the start in this process of organizational transformation, and how can we address them? And the last output we completed at this project, it is an online open access platform that has been developed following the guidelines used in the previous outputs in order to promote their dissemination and accessibility. The online platform aims to promote the dissemination of the human rights-based approach to dementia care, the Charter of Rights, and the panel principles. So, Now I will show you some of the things we have already done. It is a video that has to do with the approach we are using for this project.
Dementia is a growing global public health concern. But many projects, policies and initiatives are often about them, and rarely with them. We invite you to be different, to listen to the voice of people living with dementia. Hear what they have to say, and react in accordance with their wishes, even when it might seem unwise. Here are 3 steps to make the change. Step 1. See their rights. See the person as an individual, not the dementia. We all have our own likes and dislikes, our own life story, which tells us more about who we are than a diagnosis does. Getting to know a person and treating them with kindness and empathy, that's the first step toward better care. Step 2. Know their rights. Educate yourself and others. Understanding dementia isn't only about diagnosis and being able to identify symptoms, but reducing stigma and knowing how to respect and respond to the needs, will and preferences of people living with dementia. Step 3. Promote their rights. Go to demright.org and learn more about dementia and human rights, and how you can ensure that the fundamental human rights of people living with dementia are respected, protected and promoted. Change is never easy. Every journey has its ups and downs. But, we assure you, it will be worth it.
So that was the video we prepared in order to promote our project. And I will show you some of the posters we have already developed, but unfortunately they are in Greek and not in English yet. They have developed in order to be accessible to people living with dementia, in order somebody to watch them and understand what they have to say. In this poster, we are seeing the sentence in Greek: I have dementia, I have the right to have a voice. So I have the right to talk to others, to talk in private, to be heard, and to be represented by a person of my choice in order to support my choices. I will show you a couple more. Thank you. I have the right not to be exploited. I have dementia, that I have the right of dignity. I have the right to choose my religion, my political ideas. I have the right to choose everything that is part of my life, and not to be a victim of any kind of violence. Okay. One of the most important posters, in my point of view, is that I have the right to be informed about my rights. I have dementia and I need to know about my rights because many people living with dementia don't know anything about their rights, and they're usually victims of any kind of violence. So our plan is to inform people beforehand before they even are diagnosed with dementia, in order to live a life away from any kind of exploitation. I won't show you any more posters because they will be in our social media at Alzheimer Hellas in a few weeks when they're ready. So here is my presentation. Sorry. No. Okay. So these are our outputs. We hope we make a change in our countries and in Europe in general. Thank you very much for your attendance. If you have any questions. Yes. Thank you. Yes, we will try to convey these messages in all of social care centers and hospitals and any other kind of community that a person with dementia is living, and we're trying to make them understandable. I don't know if there is a word in English that is something like that, in order to try and know their rights, and all the other caregivers and health and social care workers are responsible to make these rights, to complete these rights. I don't know if I answered at your questions. In order to develop the Charter of Rights, we created some focus groups of people living with dementia and their carers, and we did some sessions with them, and we had a discussion about their rights, what they know about them, and what they want to achieve more. So we took a lot of information about this conversation we have with them, and also we did a transnational project meeting at Ireland, and we visited, as I told before, the St. Joseph's Hospital. It is a care home for people targeted for people living with dementia, and the many of our outputs were developed by this visit because it was a life-changing experience for us, because they are adapted the butterfly model of care, as Sana presented later, and we had the chance to see closely how it is to respect all these rights in practice, because we had different perspectives from our countries, because many of the rights of people living with dementia are violated at our countries. So this experience was life-changing for us, and we developed these tools according to these experiences. Thank you. Yes.
Sorry. Carers or friends of these people could call, or even themselves, and actually get help for someone to come out and see and help them.
Okay, thank you for the question. We are developing our site now. So in our site, you will find information for every country of centers that can help in every country, particularly in Greece, for example. We will have the line we have in order to help people living with a helpline of people living with dementia. And in every other country, we will have this information at our website.
Just one additional question, sorry. Is this helpline just for information reasons, or is there actually a form where, when somebody is really in the situation and needs help, say, hey, here's somebody being violated that needs help. Is there like a
Every country, I think they have their own policy about the violations, but also it will be helplines, European helplines about violations of human rights. So they can go to these lines or these websites in order to find more information about how to protect themselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Dementia can remember numbers or remember action. So which level of dementia you are working on?
So I'm sorry, I didn't mention that before. All these outputs we've developed are for healthcare workers and social workers and caregivers of people with dementia. Only the posters are targeted to people living with dementia, and it is for all stages of dementia, but our target groups are the healthcare professionals, social care workers, and the caregivers.
So if any one of the dementia has a violent or something like this, he will not interact because the program or the rights going to the professional, not for the dementia persons.
They go for the dementia person. That's what I say. The posters are for people with dementia. They describe the rights in more simple way in order to be understood. But one of the rights of people living with dementia is the accountability of the people that are caring for them. So the people caring for them are held accountable for making the rights clear to understand to them in every stage of dementia, and also to suspect any kind of violation and refer it to the organization or helplines or whatever is responsible for this kind of violations. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you, everyone. And
thank you, Ioanna. That was very interesting. Thank you.